Hey, morning YouTube, Ray Horvath Productions, and I'm out here in the middle of the Doniana Range, southern New Mexico, near Las Cruces. I'm gonna ask everybody, first of all, to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out and helps me continue to put up videos for you guys and take the journey with the KRX here. Hit a milestone. Right now, just hit the 3,000 mile mark. Yes, I do use these machines. I don't use them lightly. I don't let them sit. I enjoy riding them. So, big milestone here at 3,000. I only had one issue, and I'll get into that very shortly. But it's been a great machine. A couple of things I want to touch base on. If you're going to do any kind of rock climbing and you're going to be in hard pack terrain such as this, you know, dry sand, jagged rocks, and various desert terrains, you want to invest in these Nerf bars. They really protect the side of the machine. I've been in several situations to where if I wouldn't have them, they would definitely incur some damage there at the bottom on the plastic areas. And definitely wouldn't have been pretty. One of the other things I do recommend are the A-arm guards there. Those are really good. They give an extra level of protection there. Prevent things from hitting the A-arms and the CV boot areas, things like that. Also, I've talked about that already, the trailing arm guards. I haven't really think I've scratched them or hit the bottom of them, but they're there just in case. So I did have one issue with the KRX, and I'll put a picture up here so you can see it, but it was the clutch one-way bearing. Now, some of you that own these, or you may have read about it, as you were going down the trail and you had the gear shift in high and you were at, you know, nominal rate of speed, you know, 25, 30 miles an hour going down the trail, you would let off the gas and you would normally expect your engine brake to kick on a little bit. And it would, with that one-way bearing that came on some of the 2020 models, it would pop out of gear, basically. Now, the shifter would remain in high, but you would just hear it pop off almost kind of like a blown belt. And to be honest, when it first happened, that's what I thought that happened. I thought I had lost a CVT belt. But it was the clutch one-way bearing. And it only happened to me a couple of times. And so Kawasaki contacted me about it, or I reached out to them actually in an email, and they said, yeah, some of the units on the first 20 models had a one-way bearing, I guess, that wasn't beefy enough. And so I took it into the dealership. It was literally done in one day, and now it hasn't happened since. Now, I did that right at 2,000 miles, so I've got another 987, you know, right at the 3,000 mark, and it hasn't happened since. And one of the things I noticed once that was switched is the CVT engagement is different. The way the clutch engages is different. More smooth. And I've got to tell you guys, this has got to be also, besides the most plush ride and suspension, this CVT here, besides being one of the largest in the industry, it has that wet clutch mechanism behind it. And the CVT belt, as I indicated in some of my previous videos, it's always tight. The belt's always under tension, so it's not like your typical CVTs. There's a wet clutch that comes behind it and engages the CVT. It has got to be the smoothest engagement from a dead stop that I have ever experienced. Now, of course, I ride with guys that got their Can-Ams, and I ride with guys that got their Polaris. Of course, I had the Talon. It is beltless, but this, it's a really smooth engagement. It's kind of hard to kind of put into words unless you got to experience it, but really nice from that aspect, and so far extremely reliable. Now, I did put on a new belt at the 2,000 mile mark, and I'll kind of show that here really quick. You know, it didn't really need it. It was wore, but of course CVT belts are going to wear. They that's normal for them. They're a wear item, but there is no cracking, there is no damage. This CVT belt is in amazing condition for having 2,000 miles on it. The one that I have in it now has just under 1,000, but I keep this one as a spare, and it wasn't even, I would have been confident keeping it in, but I figured what the heck, they already had the clutch system apart to replace the one-way bearing, so I said go ahead and throw it on. But super awesome machine. I will continue to put miles on it and talk about the reliability. That is the only issue I have had with this machine. It starts up every time, extremely reliable. I had some questions and I'll try to answer them very quickly, and if I don't, you can drop a comment. Ask what am I using for fluids as far as my lubricants and oil. So those are all 100% synthetic. I don't use conventional at all. I just think it's the better way to go. So I use synthetic everywhere this thing uses oil. Another question I had from another viewer about the air filter and the air cleaner situation. Well, being out here in the Donianas, it's extremely dusty all the time. So I've actually changed this thing, you know, probably on my 6th air filter. It just gets extremely dusty out here. I know a lot of people will, you know, get, you know, 1,000 miles out of it, depending on the environment you ride in. But out here, it's extremely dusty, and it's better to have a clean one. You don't want to mess around with that, but really, really good. This is not your turbo. This is not something that you want to buy if you're looking for the most powerful unit on the market. That is not it. Now, there's rumors that Kawasaki is going to release a 4-seater. There's also rumors that they're going to release a factory turbo model, as opposed to what the Talon did, where they released it and then had a, you know, a third party kind of come in under factory warranty and develop the turbo kit for the Talon. Supposedly Kawasaki's working on a turbo model that will come from the factory. Of course, that's just rumor. Don't know if that's going to happen. If any of you know or know that's confirmed, please let me know down in the comments. But let me tell you, 112 horsepower, that's, for most people, that's plenty of power. I know there's going to be people dropping comments and saying, well, you know, you can get the Can-Am, you can get the Polaris, and it'll smoke your machine. Absolutely it will. And if I lived in the dunes where I used it in sand, you know, all the time, I would want that extra power. Absolutely I would. However, for the bulk of my riding out here, if you're not happy, you know, in an arroyo like this, going 50 miles an hour, which I really ain't gonna do, because, you know, what if somebody's coming around the bend? There's always the safety issue. I've got plenty of power to do whatever I want to with this machine. It is a great trail machine as well, and I guarantee you, when I ride with my buddy and his Can-Am out here, I keep up with him fine, because we're not in the straightaway. Now, in the straightaway, of course, he'll blow me away, but out here, it's just as nimble, just as agile, and it's got plenty for me. If you're looking for a turbo, currently it's not there on this unit. Now, if you're looking for something that is extremely reliable, and in my personal opinion, probably the most reliable sports side-by-side on the market currently to date, this unit is for you. If you're looking for something that will climb over rocks and give you peace of mind when you're out 20 miles from home or 20 miles from wherever you offload, this is the machine for you. Kawasaki is known for their quality and for their reliability. I am very convinced of that. I'm telling you, 3,000 miles, guys. And that, the one issue I had, it only happened a couple times. I know other people had it happen more. I've had read about it and saw some forums. It only happened to me like 2 or 3 times, and it was addressed immediately and taken care of by Kawasaki. One of the things I will touch with, I did not at first like this rear window from Super ATV, but I'll tell you what, as you can see, it's full of dirt. It keeps a lot of the trail dust off of you, so I'm actually convinced on that. I enjoy having it. I did remove it a couple times to see if there's a difference, and yeah, sure enough, you get dirt in the back of your head. So I'm sold on that. I think I'm going to leave it on, and as we go into winter, I think it'll be even better. Another thing I'd like to talk about very briefly is the low power mode. So I touched on this before, the low power mode, and I had mixed thoughts about it. But after using it a few times in the rocks out here and climbing, it's actually quite intelligent. It gives you a sense of power that, it's funny, sense of power, low power mode, but it gives you more stability and control when you're doing technical slow stuff. And at first it feels like you're, wow, I'm lacking power, something's up. But once you get the feel for it, it is absolutely phenomenal for climbing over tough terrain and rocks and steep technical stuff. So I really enjoy that. And the one thing, the last question I want to answer, excuse me, from one of my subscribers is the CVT. Now, we're in New Mexico here, or the CVT temperature, I should say. There's been a few days here where it's gotten above 106 degrees, and I've never got this thing over 3 bars as far as the heat. That's a really great feature to have, a CVT heat meter, essentially, to let you know how hot your belt's getting and when to back off the throttle. I've never had it over 3. And that's well within operating temperatures of CVTs. To my knowledge, this is the only unit that has that on their side-by-side. And I'll add another comment. The times that I did have it at 3 bars, believe it or not, it wasn't out here on the trail. It was on the straightaways coming to the trail at about 50 miles an hour. And of course, the CVT is spinning, producing more friction. The minute I slow down, it'll go down to 2 bars or 1 bar, like early in the morning right now. So if you had questions about the CVT reliability, let me tell you, Kawasaki really nailed it. They probably have the most reliable CVT, of course, this is just my opinion, on the market today. I've been out with guys that have blown the belts out here a couple times. I put 2,000 miles on the first belt. I would have still been confident in riding it for additional mileage, but I decided to switch it anyway since I had it apart. But let me tell you, it's a really reliable system. So to answer that for some of the people that asked, yes, I think it is a very reliable CVT and smooth. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. Oh, last thing, sorry. One of my pet peeves, or one of the things I don't like, and I hope Kawasaki changes it, the doors here. Now, I don't know if you can see that, this plastic, it's kind of not put together well. I'll come around the other side really quick. You know, I just think it could have been a lot better as far as piecing together these half doors. You know, they're just kind of loose and don't like that. And of course, as I indicated on the last video, the seat movement. So sliding the seats front to back, that mechanism is kind of not smooth. So little small stuff, but if I had to say something that I dislike, those would be the 2 most dislikes about the machine. But I hope everybody has a great day. Stay safe. I will continue to put up videos. Hopefully I can do one at 4,000 or 4,500 and touch on the reliability again. Thanks for subscribing. Hit the like button. Have any questions, drop them below. Thanks.